I love the trailer of Jugadistan, and I really like the authenticity that you're bringing into it, along with the dynamics you share with all of the characters. And Parambrata, I've been a huge fan of your work, be it Bengali or Hindi films, your directorial work, your web outings, and I must say you're full of surprises whenever I see you on screen.
That's
So
very sweet of you and kind of you. Thank you very much, Aditi. Thank you.
So, on that note, a huge welcome to ETimes, and we are so happy to have you joining with us today.
Thank you. Me too. Even this makes me very happy too. Thank you.
I want to know from you what made you say an absolute yes for the show, and what were your biggest takeaways from it?
I think, when Jugadistan was offered to me, I knew that it is not per se sort of it's not it's definitely the part being offered to me is one of the prime characters in the show, but
Mm-hmm.
it is not per se the pivotal role or not the show is not about one or two or three pivotal roles. It
Yeah.
is about an ensemble thing. So a lot of people might have reservations about ensemble pieces.
Yeah.
I don't happen to be one of them. I like the atmosphere. I especially if it's a web show. When it's a web show, I understand the dynamic, how every character has its his or her own arc, and how it is so exciting even for the viewer to kind of follow, kind of pick their own sort of person and follow and root for them.
Mm.
So and also Jugadistan, I found it to be a very fresh idea in the sense that
Yeah.
not too many things you watch on OTT about college, about university,
Yeah.
about the fun that we have, the mischiefs that we do when we are in college or university. So that way, I just thought it was a very, very fresh
Best
idea.
idea.
Uh,
Yeah.
the freshness of it appealed to me quite a bit. And then there is something which is slightly more serious woven into it, like examination scam, which is woven into it, but with a lot of humor. It is not. It does not become sort of didactic at any point in time. It stays very nice and fluffy and feel good and enjoyable while addressing an issue which is quite important. Yeah, and thought it was a nice opportunity to kind of bring out my. I think you being a Bengali will understand the word. Uh, there's a Shabjanta streak in me, so I'm gonna bring that out as a teacher.
Yeah.
So the Paka Shabjanta streak, I think that can come out very nicely while playing a professor. That and I wanted to work with Akash Khurana because I had watched his film Karva and some other
Beautiful
work that
film.
he had done,
Yeah.
and I really enjoyed them. And I thought he's got great sensibilities. And once I met him, I was only more sure that somebody I would like to work with somebody with this kind of sensibilities. So yeah, I think all these reasons combined.
Mm-hmm. So, you play the role of a college professor out there. What was it about your character that attracted you the most? How did it feel to get inside his headspace?
So one thing which was an immediate attraction is the fact that my character, which is that of Bijoy Das, he's a
Mm.
professor and who could have been a doctor, but who did not choose that path. He chose to teach. By choice, he became
Yeah.
a professor instead of practicing medicine. Uh, and also, a very, very easy takeaway for me was the fact that, the students, especially women students, quite like this guy
Mm.
quite a bit. He's quite a hit with students, especially the female folk. So that is something that yeah, it was an immediate attraction for me. I think. Arey, kya baat hai? Matlab, arey. Uh, so yeah, that.
So, you had earlier shared that there are often creative conflicts when you approach a project or a character, since you are a director too. So now, how do you find the balance between both of these, personalities, and were there challenges in Jugadistan too that way?
Firstly, no, there weren't such challenges in Jugaristan at all because I think it was creatively very sorted. Akash and Adhar, both of them,
Hmm.
and the entire team. Also, I think with time, I have learned to kind of, you know, keep aside my director self when I bring myself to a set as an actor. I think that's also very important
Hmm.
uh, because, I mean, unless called for, unless asked for, I mean, why would I go and give directorial inputs
Yeah,
to things? I mean,
true.
that can become very, that can look like interference to the people who are making it and to the people who want to make a thing with their own vision, and I'm a part of their vision. So that is why I've been cast. So unless there's an emergency on set where I see that oh my god, the director actually knows nothing, and ये shooting खत्म ही नहीं होगी कभी, and unless it goes to that extent, I usually don't interfere. But there are times when, as I said, that एक shooting खत्म ही नहीं होगी कभी scenario, then I have to step in and kind of at least ensure that the shoot is done and over with.
Yeah.
ये हो चुका है पहले, but I think Jugadistan is definitely not one of those. I mean, most work that I do these days don't happen to be anything of that sort, and definitely not Jugadistan.
Mm-hmm. So, as a college professor, you are out there fighting the system and standing by what's right. But in real life, how much of a Jugadu person have you been? Or have you ever had that situation where you had to thrive by Jugad or something?
See, we are from the film industry, so we all of us. I think film industry is the BAP of all Jugads. I think we do BAP of all Jugads. I mean, it's the entire deal is about cheating or
Mm-hmm.
creating a persona, projecting a certain facade, right? Projecting a certain set of images to people, uh, and creating a make-believe world. And in the process of that, we all have to end up doing a lot of Jugad here and there, be it like it can be with a little dhaga on set, like which is not working, and you have to change the dhaga, and you don't know your tailor is missing, and you just have to do a jugaad with that. It can be from starting from there to very big things, very 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 big things with CG and stuff. So yeah, jugaad is an intrinsic part of the filmmaking process, I think. So I think we are all masters of jugaad, even bigger masters than the students.
Mm-hmm. You are mostly seen playing serious roles and you have always picked up rich content driven subjects for that matter. How do you reflect on that? And what is your creative process in choosing scripts in general?
It just has to be cohesive. I think the script has to be cohesive.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be loyal to its tonality. I usually find jumps in tonalities a little problematic to handle. Maybe that's my problem. I mean, a film or a show, often in pursuit of, I find sometimes in pursuit of kind of making it more exciting. A series or a film, it starts off like a comedy and ends up being a thriller, and midway it turns into a thriller and ends up like a horror film. So this change in tonality is not something that I personally like. I like a uniformity in tonality, be it a film, be it a series. Of course, there can be different elements, but the predominant tonality there has to be a certain sense of cohesiveness or a certain sense of unity in terms of the overall tonality, the master tonality. So
Mm-hmm.
that, and as far as the part which is being a part of parts which is are being offered to me, I just make sure that the part that is being offered to me has a significant and enough contribution towards
The
how this
film.
narrative
Yeah.
is landing, is ending. It has to have a significant contribution towards how the story finishes. I mean, on the takeaway for the audience. As long as that is there, I don't really care very much about whether it's there for 60 scenes or or if it's there for 16 scenes.
Okay.
As long as it has that that one takeaway it's a part of the main takeaway for the audience.
Mm-hmm. Since you have been a prominent face in Bengali cinema, how do you assess your craft among your contemporaries who are also switching medium?
I've been working for quite some time in different capacities.
Yeah.
In Bengali cinema, I don't think that apart from a few of us, our generation, the four of our generation actors, Jishu, Abir, myself, maybe
Yes.
to some extent, Ritik, now Anirban. I think these four, five of us. Without us, I don't think Bengali cinema. I don't think one can actually talk about Bengali cinema in the last 10, 15 years without these names. So
True.
that is. So that's something that gives us quite a bit of satisfaction, I would say. And but we are trying to take it to the next level. And sometimes we are stumbling, sometimes we are floundering, sometimes we're succeeding. So let's see how that happens. And as far as rating my craft is concerned, I think I'm a fairly dependable actor. I think I'm a
Mm.
fairly intelligent human being. And yeah, I mean, I wouldn't rate myself as an incredibly good actor. I would rather rate myself as a as a better, holistically, a better film or a creative person. That is how I like to look at myself.
So now, do you think we are witnessing a revival in Bengali cinema and content, especially because of streaming platforms? We are seeing a lot of new subjects.
To be honest with you, I would have expected a little more. There was a revival of Bengali cinema about a decade ago, and we all were very intrinsic and important parts of that revival. I think 10 years down the line, right now we are a little stuck with our own cocoon right now. That is the reason why we are not being able to break out with original Bengali content yet on the international platforms, unlike say a Malayalam cinema or Tamil
Yeah.
content. So I think we're a little stuck right now, but I can see that doldrum getting over. I can see that deadlock kind of cracking open. I think in another 2 3 years we will see a lot of fresh voices from Bengal on national and international platforms.
Having said that, one can also say that South Indian films have a huge pan-India recognition. So, what do you think is holding back Bengali cinema that way?
I think primarily the audience. I think the Bengali speaking audience. See, the one good thing about South Indian cinema, one great thing about South Indian audience and South Indian market in general is the
Mhm.
fact that consumption of Hindi
Yeah.
content for South Indian audience and South Indian market is very little actually.
True.
Whereas, I mean, if you compare it with Bengal, because the Bengali market, the Bengali audience consumes far more of Hindi content than a South Indian market does. South Indian
That.
audience is very loyal to their language and very loyal to their culture and they're loyal to their the films or other content made in their languages. Whereas the Bengali audience, always they kind of look at Hindi content, be it films or series, for inspiration and for
Yeah.
their dose of consumption of audiovisual entertainment, audiovisual watching. So that creates a tremendous pressure on us, people creating Bengali content, because in terms of budget, in terms of scale, we can barely match up to Hindi content. And but since the Bengali audience is always very much exposed to Hindi sensibilities and Hindi scales, we have to try very hard to match up with that in terms of the subjects. Actually, we can't really match up in terms of scale. Now, the choice of subjects sometimes for 4 5 years they turn out to be very exclusive and very good, and they ring with the people, ring with the audience. But then again, 3 4 years later, you have phases, you have time periods where the choice of subjects probably they stop ringing with the audience because the audience changes very fast. Maybe the makers haven't changed that fast. Maybe the makers need to do a bit of catching up with what the audience wants right now. So I think that these are the two main factors why. But again, as I said, I see a little change. I see in the next 2 3 years things changing.
hmm So, Param, you have explored every medium of entertainment, be it web shows, content creation, direction, and so much more. So, now with the amount of shows and competitions coming in, what is your approach towards enhancing your craft and finding a place for yourself in this industry? How are you reinventing yourself as an actor now?
I think I'm reinventing myself quite a bit as an actor in the Hindi space. I think I have been a lot more prolific in the last 2 years in the Hindi space than I've ever been so far in my career, and I think I can safely say that I kind of juggle between two cities now, Kolkata and Mumbai. It's earlier after Kahani, as Mr. Rajiv Masand, I had met him a few days ago in Mumbai, and he mentioned that it's good to see you kind of finally having taken the dive. Earlier after Kahani, you were kind of contemplating, considering whether to dip your
About
toes or not,
entering Bollywood full-fledged
whether
that way.
you had just about dipped your toes, but then kind of backed off. But this time, I can see that there's a lot of synergy. And so yeah, so I think and the OTT space, which is ever evolving in this country, with and without its challenges, both. I think that is offering incredible space for people like me who want to reevaluate and redefine their craft and redefine their locus standi, if I can say that.
True. After Kahani, I thought, finally Parambrata will enter Bollywood that way and I can get to see him more on the screen because, as I said, I'm a huge fan of your work and I love watching you on screen.
Thank you once again. Thank you, Aditi.
So, thank you so much, Parambrata, for doing this with me. I had a great time chatting with you and I'm really looking forward to watch Obhijan. My parents have grown up watching Soumitra Chatterjee's work and
Yeah.
I have grown up watching your work. So, thank you for doing this with me.